The indicator is blinking. Not the usual one. Not that small green that you have been ignoring for 3 years in the lower corner of your screen. Not that one. This one is red, and it does not blink like it is waiting for a response. It blinks like it has already made a decision. It is 6:47 in the morning. Your coffee is still steaming. The city outside your window has not fully woken up yet. That strange hour when buses run almost empty and dogs bark for no apparent reason. You had planned to check your email, respond to 3 pending messages, maybe read something. A normal day, but the indicator is still red. You do what any reasonable person does. You ignore it. You refresh the page. The system takes 4 seconds longer than usual to load, and when it does, the indicator is still there, brighter now, as if your indifference had irritated it. You open a new tab. You try to access your bank account. Access restricted. Your profile is under review. You close that tab. Open it again. Same message. You open your email. There is a new message. It arrived exactly 11 minutes ago. Sender, an alphanumeric code you do not recognize. The subject line reads, Automated Classification Notice. Level 3. You do not open it yet, because somewhere between your first sip of coffee and this moment, something has changed. Not in the world. In how the world sees you. You open the message. It is short. 4 paragraphs. Neutral language. Almost clinical, the kind of prose that seems designed to communicate without actually informing. It informs you that your digital behavior profile has triggered a series of alert markers within the integrated predictive analysis system. It informs you that this is an automated process. It informs you that you have the right to request a manual review. It does not tell you which markers. It does not tell you which behavior. It does not tell you who reviews the manual review, or how long it takes, or what happens in the meantime. At the bottom of the message there is a case number. 16 digits. You copy it. You paste it into the search engine. Nothing comes up. You try calling the number listed at the bottom of the email. An automated voice tells you the estimated wait time is 4 hours and 17 minutes. It offers you the option of a callback. You accept. They ask you to confirm your identity through a code they will send to your phone. The code never arrives. At 8:15 you decide to go outside. Not because you have somewhere to be, but because staying inside that apartment staring at screens that do not respond is starting to feel like something that could drive you mad if you let it. The sun outside is normal. The trees are normal. A woman walks by with a stroller and does not look at you like you are a threat. That, for some reason, feels like an enormous relief. You stop at your usual coffee shop. You order your usual thing. When you go to pay, your card is declined. Not with the usual insufficient funds message. With a different one. Transaction not authorized. Please contact your institution. You pay in cash. You are lucky you have cash. While you drink your coffee sitting by the window, you start retracing your steps. What did you do in the last few days? What did you search for? What did you buy? Who did you talk to? You try to build a timeline, a sequence of actions that might have triggered something. Nothing stands out. That is the most unsettling part of all. Nothing stands out. You search for recipes. You watched a documentary about medieval history. You bought a pair of headphones. You sent normal messages to normal people about completely normal things. You paid a bill. Which one of those things makes you a threat? Or was it the combination? Or was it something you do not even remember doing? At 10:40, you receive an email from work. Your access to the internal system has been temporarily suspended for security reasons. Your supervisor has been notified. You are asked not to come into the office until further notice. You are assured that this is a standard procedure and does not imply any formal accusation. You read that last sentence 3 times. Does not imply any formal accusation. The presence of that sentence implies that someone decided it was necessary to include it. Someone thought you needed to know that, which means someone thought you might believe there was an accusation. You call your supervisor. No answer. You send a message. They respond 3 minutes later with a reply of 6 words. We will talk when it is resolved. Stay calm. You put your phone away. Outside, the city continues functioning with complete indifference. A delivery truck unloads boxes. 2 kids run past toward school. The world does not know something is happening to you, and that normalcy surrounding you starts to feel like a form of involuntary cruelty. You spend the afternoon trying to understand the system. You find public documentation. Long, technical documents, full of circular definitions. The system analyzes behavioral patterns in real time. It cross-references data from multiple sources. It uses predictive models to identify risk profiles. The exact criteria are confidential for reasons of operational security. You read that last part twice. The criteria are secret. What turned you into a threat is information you cannot access, because accessing it would compromise the security of the system that classified you. There is something perfectly circular in that logic. Something that closes every exit from the inside. You keep reading. You find a forum. People who have been through the same thing. A man in another city who went 3 weeks without access to his accounts because the algorithm detected he was buying gardening tools and patterns that overlapped with a certain risk profile. A woman whose name was too similar to someone on a list. A student who was researching extremism for a thesis and whose search patterns triggered 8 separate markers. None of them did anything. All of them took weeks to resolve. Some are still waiting. It is 7:23 in the evening when the second notification arrives. This one is different. It does not come by email. It appears directly on your screen, layered over everything else, a system-level alert you cannot close without accepting or postponing. It informs you that within the next 48 hours you must complete an extended identity verification process. It tells you that you will need to present physical documentation at an authorized center. It gives you an address. The address is 2 hours from where you live. The center operates Monday through Friday, 9 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon. Today is Friday. It is 7:23 in the evening. You have until Sunday at 7:23 in the evening to complete the process, but the center does not open on weekends. The math does not work and no one seems to have noticed, or no one seems to care. You postpone the alert. It tells you that you can only postpone it once, that if you do not complete the process within the indicated time frame, your case will move to the next phase of classification. It does not tell you what the next phase is. That night you do not sleep well. It is not insomnia in the dramatic sense. It is more subtle than that. You lie there with your eyes open staring at the ceiling, and your mind works in silence, doing something that could be called inventory. You review your digital life. Every account, every subscription, every installed app, every message sent, every search, and what you find, in that quiet review, is nothing criminal. It is the opposite. It is the completely ordinary life of a completely ordinary person, reduced to data, and that data, seen from a certain angle, from the cold perspective of a model trained to find risk patterns, could resemble almost anything. Because patterns do not have context. Patterns do not know that you searched how to disable an alarm because you locked yourself out of your apartment. They do not know you bought latex gloves because you have eczema. They do not know you sent 43 messages in one day because it was your mother's birthday and you were coordinating a surprise dinner. Patterns only see numbers and frequencies and similarities to other numbers and frequencies that were once associated with something that someone, at some point, decided to call a threat. And you resemble that pattern closely enough for the system to blink red. That is all. That is enough. Saturday morning you decide to do something concrete. You start documenting everything. Every message received, every notification, every failed access attempt, every case number, every hour, and every date. You build a chronological record on paper, by hand. Because suddenly using the system to document what the system is doing to you feels like a paradox too perfect to ignore. You call a lawyer. The lawyer knows these cases. There are more than you would think, he says. Most get resolved.
Let me explain the key
Most
points
take
of this
between
case.
2 weeks
We must
and 3
consider the
months.
precedents carefully.
It depends on the
This will be
classification
crucial.
level, the workload of the review system, a series of factors that even the lawyer himself cannot predict. You ask him what the odds are of this being resolved before you lose your job. He pauses before answering. He tells you that depends on your employer. Sunday afternoon, you walk to the park 4 blocks from your building. Not because you need fresh air in any poetic sense, but because outside, among real people who see you and ignore you with the natural indifference of strangers, you are just a body in space, and that, for now, no one can take from you. You sit on a bench. A pigeon approaches. You ignore it. It stays anyway. You think about something you read in the forum, written by someone who had been in the verification process for 6 weeks. The hardest part is not what they take away. It is that you cannot prove you are not what the system says you are, because the system never tells you exactly what it says you are. That stays with you, because there is something fundamentally true in it. Your innocence is not in question. You know that. But innocence needs a space where it can be recognized, and that space is currently being managed by an automated process operating at a speed and with a logic that no human being supervises in real time. You are not guilty. You are a case. And cases have processing times. Monday morning you are at the verification center door at 8:45. You brought every document the system asked for, plus 3 more that the lawyer recommended bringing just in case. You brought the paper record. You brought a printed copy of every notification you received. The center opens at exactly 9 o'clock. You are first in line. There are 7 people behind you when the door opens. You do not know if they are here for the same thing. You do not ask. They do not ask either. The person who attends to you reviews your documents for 21 minutes. They do not say much. They type. They consult a second screen you cannot see. They type more. At some point they pick up the phone and speak to someone in a very low voice. Then they look at you. They tell you your case has been escalated for human review, that you will receive a notification within 5 to 10 business days, that in the meantime, some of your restrictions may be provisionally lifted, depending on the initial assessment. You ask what may means. They tell you it means exactly that. You walk out into the sun. The indicator on your phone is still red, but now there is a new tracking number, a number that exists inside the system, that has a human reviewer assigned to it. That means somewhere there is a person whose job is to look at your case and make a decision. That is all you have. And, strangely, it is more than you had 72 hours ago. That evening, while you eat something simple in your kitchen, you think about the central paradox of all of this. You live in a world where the systems that protect can also trap, where the efficiency of automated analysis carries as its inevitable price a certain margin of error, and that error has no face, no name. It cannot be challenged. It feels no shame, no urgency. It is not malice. It is architecture. And somehow that makes it harder to confront than if it were. Because against malice you can feel righteous anger. Against architecture you can only navigate. You wash the plate. Turn off the kitchen light. Sit in the armchair and open a book. A paper one. One that does not record which pages you read or how long you spend on each one or whether you underline something that might resemble an alert marker. The indicator on your phone, on the table beside you, is still blinking red. You let it blink, and for the first time in 4 days, you decide not to look. Not because the problem has disappeared, but because you learned something the system will never be able to classify, that the only way to not lose yourself inside a process that reduces you to data is to remember, with deliberate stubbornness, that you are more than the data your life produces. The book feels good in your hands. Outside, the city does what it always does. And you are still you. For now, that is enough.